What's up, everybody? I want to share with you something that I've been thinking a lot about lately, and I kind of want to get your feedback on it to see if what I'm thinking, if you agree, if you disagree. It's on a principle. I actually learned this a couple of years ago, and it's something that I understood intellectually, but I didn't quite grasp the magnitude and significance of differentiating between these two things that I want to go over with you. I learned about it again recently in a church sermon, so apparently this is a biblical principle. But initially, a couple of years ago when I learned about it from a guy named Jesse Elder. And I don't think he's a Christian, but he's kind of like personal development, kind of new age type stuff. But I feel like these two principles, they go hand in hand. So I'm going to do my best to go over the principle that this guy, Jesse Elder, laid out in his video a couple of years ago. So he starts off talking about how he's all for peace, he's all for love, but at the same time, we can't neglect the fighting aspect of our human experience. So there's always going to be situations where we need to fight, or we are fighting, or whatever it might be, right? So he talks about how there's two fighters. You have a rebel that fights against something, and then you have a warrior that fights for something. And he goes on to say that a rebel's job is never done because they're always going to find enemies to fight against. And he talks about how it's a very different energy, it's a very different skill set, and it's a completely different power, and how a warrior will be there and fight when is needed. Okay? So I watched the video and I understood it intellectually, but I don't really feel like I understood it. I didn't understand the significance and how different these two ideas are. So first off, I want to ask you the question, do you feel like you kind of understand the distinction between those two things? So the idea, the way that I receive it, is that a warrior mindset is a much more productive and efficient mindset to have. Do you agree with that? Now this next part of the video, I want to kind of give you how I think those ideas are being enacted in society today with two main categories, okay? The first is COVID-19. So what I'm seeing, and again, if you disagree with me, let me know. If you agree, let me know. But this is what I'm seeing, okay? I'm seeing a lot of rebel mindset people fighting against something. What is that something they're fighting against? They're fighting against COVID-19. COVID-19, let's focus on that and fight against that. Am I saying that COVID-19 is good? No, I'm not saying that. Am I saying that we shouldn't take precautions? No, I'm not saying that. But if a rebel mindset says, I'm going to fight against COVID-19, then what would a warrior mindset say? The way I see it, in my opinion, is a warrior would say, I'm going to fight for health. I'm going to fight for vitality. Now, what I'm starting to realize is when you have a rebel mindset, what ends up happening is you get blinders on, and you can only see the thing that you're fighting against, and you forget what you're fighting for. So I'm seeing a lot of people wearing a mask. I'm not saying that's wrong. Let's just say that that's right. Wear a mask, right? Protect yourself from the virus. Protect your other people from spreading it. Stay inside, right? Social distance. Warriors can do that too. But a warrior doesn't forget what they're fighting for. They're fighting for health and vitality. So a warrior is going to work out too. A warrior is going to make their body strong and get their immunity up. A warrior is going to get out in the sun and get some vitamin D. A warrior is going to eat healthier foods, right? So a warrior can do all the things that a rebel can do, but a warrior doesn't forget what they're fighting for. The other area that I'm seeing it in today's society is fighting against racism. Okay? So in my opinion, the way I see it is I see a lot of people, a lot of rebel mindsets that are fighting against racism against black people. Is racism against black people a bad thing? Heck yeah, it is. Should we fight against it? Of course we should. But the problem is when you focus on that, if you have that rebel mindset, you lose track of what you're fighting for. What are you fighting for? What I think we should be fighting for is equality, justice. We want things to be fair. But what I'm seeing with all the focus on racism against black people is those very people are becoming the very things that they hate. They're becoming racist. You're seeing it all over the place. Of course, a lot of it isn't being communicated, right? So my invitation to you guys is if you feel that maybe you're in the category of the rebel mindset, I encourage, or maybe just, I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe try shifting your focus a little bit to the warrior mindset and just see what happens. Instead of fighting against the virus, fight for health. Do all the things that are necessary for health and vitality. And when it comes to racism, you can protest and still be a warrior. You can do all those things, but don't forget about what you're fighting for. Do you guys agree with me about that warrior rebel mindset and how I explained it with COVID-19 and racism? Let me know in the comments below. Do you see the rebel warrior mindset, lack of a better word, manifesting in any other areas of your life? I'm curious to know that. That's it for the video, guys. God bless you all. Peace.